What's good, you guys? It is Will here from Psychonaut Visions, signing back and once again coming at you with another video today. Out here outside, in the great outdoors. It's a beautiful day and I just wanted to get outside and essentially clear my mind. And one of the key things that I want to talk about in this joint video with Alex is, well, the topic is the infinite everything. And essentially some branches of that topic could be, well, infinite, right? Like it could be space universally, it could be life, consciousness, anything, the boundarylessness of existence. Now one of the first things I want to talk about is psychedelics, because this is something that really became apparent to me through the use of psilocybin, of high doses of mushrooms, and how it just feels so endless. My most recent experience, for example, I was going through it from a simple term, a simple thought process of like, is this ever going to end? But an even deeper thought process of like, okay, well, what is going on here? And like, it feels so cosmic. Like there's just like the universe almost. I feel like the entire universe, and it just doesn't seem like there's any sort of destination. There's sort of an end in sight. And even through my ego death experience, I mean, there were times there was specifically this one moment in particular where I was just laying there during my ego death you can't really tell time with psychedelics, but it was probably somewhere from around 25, 30 minutes, maybe even more, maybe a little less. I don't know. But I was sitting there and I quite literally was not here. Like there was my mind, my consciousness, I wasn't aware of Will. I wasn't aware of Earth, of my friends that were with me at the time, of where we were. All of that had gone completely out of the window, and it was like this infinite loop of a place that I can't even depict, but I know that I have never been there before. Like I don't want to say I ascended, but like I wasn't here, and I saw a glimpse of something that can't really be perceived by the human mind and can't really be depicted also by the human mind. But it kind of showed me how small, I suppose, our problems really are, how small we really are, and how, there may be a higher power, right? To us, like what we consider God. But to that God, to that figure, is there a higher power for that as well? Is there a higher power for our version of God? And for that version of God, does it have a God? Does it ever end? Is there an actual God, like just of everything? And a lot of these human representations of God or higher powers or whatever you want to call it, I think it's cool to speculate, and I have absolutely no problem with religion or anything. Everyone has their own sort of way of life and stuff, but I think to say that we know the truth or that anything is verifiably correct is naive. It's ignorant, because we don't. It's all unknown. It's speculation, and if we do know, we don't know that we know, because there's no way to prove it. There's no way to prove what a higher power is or if it exists. And I think you could look at death like, is that the end? Does that mark the true end? It might mark the end of this lifetime of being like, for me, when I die, I will no longer be Will. I will no longer be in this body. But what if it's just the beginning of something new? What that could be, who knows? Again, the possibilities are infinite. Like, if you kind of see what I'm getting at here, it's just there's to every possibility, to every reality, to everyone's reality, there is infinite anything, everything. Like there's another example of the butterfly effect and how we were born in these specific lives, right? And our choices impact our future. So you have a crossroads, for example, left or right, whether it be figuratively or literally, your path will be different depending on which way you go. right? So you have an open field on the left, you have a forest on the right. And that's in a literal sense. In a figurative sense, you go left, you stay in college, you go right, you drop out of college, for example, and that's just a minor example. But whatever choice you make can have a drastic impact on whatever happens next. And it's not just that, it's literally by our everyday actions, like hopping into the shower, you stub your toe and you're pissed off, so then you take that anger out on somebody else, and it feeds into the rest of the day, and you have mood swings throughout the day, and it affects a relationship. And obviously this is just kind of me giving a random example, but you kind of get the idea, at least I hope. And then there's like the universal perspective, right? That's just taking it from a human perspective and just from like our everyday lives, but anything could happen, Just being born could set an entire set of a sequence of events in awry. Who knows? Not I, because it's just speculation, it's just questioning, and a lot of it is due to psychedelics, like I said, just kind of displaying that side of my mind. Like, it's not anything that I had never known, or not to say that, but it's not to say it's anything that I've never had within, like these thoughts and questions aren't things that I've questioned in the past. It's just that through the use of psychedelics, I've really analyzed a lot deeper, and realized that this is truly an abyss. It just keeps going and going, and one question leads to another question. There are infinite questions because none of them can be answered. Like I said, it's all unknown, but that's just kind of where we are as humans. At the end of the day, it's kind of better to just live your life, and sometimes think about that stuff like this, but also sometimes be willing to take it a step back and just enjoy the simple things and breathe. But yeah, it's kind of all I've got for this topic. But hope you guys enjoyed to this point. But yeah, Will from Psychonaut Visions, signing out.
Everything. What lies beyond what we can perceive as humans? Are we stuck in one loop of existence within this universe that we've derived from? Who are we? Why do we have this consciousness that we've obtained? Where does everything begin? Where does everything end? Does it even end? Does it even start? Does it go on forever? The infinite everything. Are there infinite timelines of every possible outcome, every possible reality, decision-making process, every single thing that could possibly happen? Does it exist elsewhere? Is there a whole matrix of universe after universe that keeps lining up one after the other? What happens when you jump through a black hole, the densest thing that's ever been discovered in space? You jump through it, and what if another universe lies on the other side? Now, these are just all rhetorical questions, but they're all questions that can invoke philosophy, possible assumptions of what might be going on. But obviously, we can't fully comprehend what's going on. I think about the life that I'm living and if everything is predetermined or not. Like, everything that's happened in the course of my life so far was always meant to happen. All these decisions and mistakes I've made. All these new beginnings, all these new ends. The natural cycle of life, death, rebirth. And a cycle kind of insinuates that something starts and begins, that you're born and then you die and then that's it. You live this chronological life in a sequence of events. But what is there before birth and what lies beyond death? Is there anything that lies beyond death and before birth? I think it would be naive to think that there isn't. But I accept the possibility that there might not be anything there for us in store. But everything seems so divine and sacred that it doesn't make any sense for us to be feeling feelings of spirituality or something that lies beyond ourselves in a feeling of transcendence. Because many humans experience that, many don't, but a lot of us do, and that feeling of transcendence lies beyond the natural confines and boundaries that we make up in this third dimension. What we believe is just something that we use as an explanation for how things are. You see it across many different cultures through their beliefs and their systems of mythology. Like, this is the way it is. Here's God, here's Jesus, here's Allah, here's the Greek gods, the Roman gods. This is who they are. These are who all these people are, and this is what they do, and this is why everything is the way it is. You know, maybe these cultures are onto something. I think definitely patterns can be recognized through different religions and mythologies. There might be some consistency, but then again, we never truly know for sure what's going on. Going back to determinism in general, I think about my life and the way it's going right now with my dad and my brother. Because if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I have cut off my dad because he is a narcissist, and I've come to many of these realizations of previous trauma that I've been through. And this was a hard decision for me to make. I'm wondering, is there another timeline, universe, reality out there where my dad was actually a good father? You know, questioning these complete hypotheticals. Like, what if everything was completely different? Then that wouldn't be me. I might not even be making a YouTube video if that were the case. But nevertheless, I'm still suffering. I don't think it helps to question, like, oh, what if there is another reality where my dad wasn't a narcissist? If you want more details, watch my moving forward video about that situation specifically. The infinite everything. It's just an interesting question to try to answer, or at least ponder, reflect upon. And that's what I've done here. Because everything could just be a perception. We feel so in awe by nature. Nature, I feel like, in itself is a transcending experience, just being outside in this beautiful setting, looking at the intricate details of the ridge lines on the mountains, and the clouds, and the sun shining through the clouds with the blue sky. And these plants, if you look closely at them, you can see each little circle in a leaf that probably has a whole cluster of cells where there's a whole bunch of different things going on. Everything's just so intricate, and for some reason it just puts us in a childlike state of mind as a human, wondering how this all exists, being so fascinated by it, questioning how and why it exists, just always questioning that. I think that's just how it's gonna be for the rest of the time that I lived, questioning like, why is everything the way it is? Is there infinite realities where things are completely different, where the makeup of nature isn't like what it is now in this reality that I'm living in? I hope you're following me in what I'm saying. It's kind of some deep shit that I'm trying to talk about. And what lies beyond death too? Does the third dimension cease to exist once you die? Or do you have a soul that travels somewhere? I feel like a soul is, believing in having a soul is kind of a projection of the ego, almost thinking like, yeah, like we still have this individuality after we die. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. But I'm Alex, and that's who I am in this reality. I could have a completely different name in another universe, another timeline where there's a whole other sequence of events going on. I'm just wondering if things are even like truly measurable too. Because we'd like to think here that we're in control by measuring things and having like a system of mathematics where we can figure out solutions. But it seems like everything's just in like a constant state of chaos, and there really is no true solution to one issue. I mean, we can't quite possibly comprehend infinite. I mean, that would really just mean that everything's going on forever. There is no end or start. I mean, it would make sense if it was like that way, because everything already is so chaotic. But I don't think existence just exists on one dimensional plane. I think it exists on many dimensional planes, and I don't know how many there are. I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, so like, I'm not gonna go too far deep into that. Anyways, I think my part of the video is over. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Alex from PSYCHONAUT Visions, signing out.